Everyone is Addicted is a judgment-free space for real conversations about addiction. It's a show about breaking the stigma and building empathy. Everyone is Addicted, Mondays at 11 p.m.
What's going on, everybody? This is the host of Recover Outloud podcast, Sean Young. Before we dive in, I want to be clear. I'm not a medical professional. I'm not here to diagnose or treat. I'm simply a catalyst, someone who's walked through the fire and now speaks from experience, reflection, and a deep desire to help others find their way forward. This podcast may include honest conversations about addiction, mental health challenges, and suicidal thoughts or ideations. These are real parts of the human experience, and we won't shy away from them. If you're listening, please do so with self-care and self-awareness. And if you're struggling, please reach out. There's help out there. And most importantly, there's hope. Viewer discretion is advised. Now let's get it. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Recover Out Loud, episode 118. Today, we have a really awesome guest. I'm actually really excited about this episode and to hear his story and what he's got to say. We got Dr. Robb Kelly. How you doing, Dr. Robb?
Man, Sean, doing great. Thank you for having me on. Hey, guys, great to see you.
Thank you for volunteering to come on. It's not very often that I get a medical professional to come on and share their experience. And I think that it's more than important to hear the medical side of things as well as human experience.
Yeah, 100%. You know, we've been studying alcoholism and addiction, and now we also do depression and Alzheimer's and everything to do with psych. But I think one of the most misunderstood diseases or ailments is addiction and alcoholism, because everybody thinks it's about the alcohol and it's not. You know, everyone thinks it's just, when we found out the truth, when we found out that the hypothalamus hijacks the brain, all these things, because obviously I went through it, it's a new concept looking at the neuroscience behind what's going on.
Absolutely. And we're going to dive into that because I used to believe the same thing. I used to believe if I could just quit drinking, that my problems would go away. And that's not true at all. It's only part of the puzzle. So, Dr. Robb, would you like to give us a formal introduction of yourself?
Yeah. Hey, guys. My name is Dr. Robb Kelly over in San Antonio, Texas. We have a couple of offices around the world. We have San Antonio, Dallas, Manchester, England, London, England, Switzerland, and Spain. We're a big company, but we're a quiet company. I get to deal with, the people that are struggling on a higher level, and my staff and people around me serve with anybody coming in, veterans and stuff like that. And most veterans that come to us are free of charge, of course. So yeah, I've been doing this for over 30 years. We have a 98%, yeah, sorry, you might have misunderstood me then, guys, 98% success rate with 11,000 patients going over the 25, 30 years I've been in this industry. So we're excited that you can cure addiction with 100% with that, but you can't cure alcoholism because of the hypothalamus and basal ganglia. We've traced cells back to imprinted cells on fetus level, show alcoholism, which is crazy. But yeah, you know, enjoying life. I have a few things. I have a restaurant in San Antonio, a British restaurant. I have a security company. I have a conference company, and I have what's called a breath box. It's a 9D company. So yeah, doing well over here, you know, keeping us busy, you know, 2 English bulldogs, 1 great wife, and a cat.
Nice. You know, you sound like a very busy man with his hands on everything, and that's awesome. That's really awesome.
Yeah, you know, I'm always kind of looking for the next thing. It's you know, going back to when my alcoholism, the family, of course. I took my first drink at the age of 9. And what I know now was that was the ticking time clock. Because if you're an alcoholic, you know exactly what I mean. You know, I ask people today, when did you take your first drink, 8 or 9 or 10? What was it like? Oh, horrible. I spit it out. Not me. When I took it, my whole being changed. I was on stage actually in Liverpool with my musical family. I was 9 years old playing the bass. And I've done that most of my life, professionally or semi-professionally. But yeah, that's when it all started off for me. And of course, alcoholics and addicts have the addicted personality. So alcoholics are born, drug addicts are made, which I know we'll come back to. But yeah, it's like a bit of all the stuff over here, then, you know, we're geniuses. We really are geniuses.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Before we dive into your story, how has your day been, Dr. Robb?
You know what? Thank you for asking. You're probably the only person in 5 years that's ever asked me that. Because I'm always the one giving, always, and that's what I do. I choose to do this. I'm not, you know, people come for money, people come for treatment, people come for, you know, lots and lots of reasons. My day, today I'm not 100%, and I don't know why. I'm around 90% of what I usually am. And I've never shared this with anybody. My wife doesn't know, because you asked me, you kind of caught me off the yeah, and that's okay, you know. But yeah, I'm 90%. I'm not 100. Maybe after the show I'll be 100. But yeah, doing pretty good, man. Blessed every day to get out of a dry bed, you know, and start my day in a nice part of town, driving a car of my dreams with a house of my dreams. But I have a love for myself today, which is more important than money. I have a wife that really loves me and takes care of us, and we bounce off each other. So yeah, I mean, I tell you what I don't have, Sean. I never have bad days. What I do have is better days than others. So today is not 100%, it's 90%. I get 3 of these a year. That's all I get usually. So yeah, thank you for asking, man. Wow.
Thank you for sharing. I find it important to ask people how they're doing and how they're feeling, simply for the fact that in society today, we don't hear that very often. We don't hear people asking and genuinely caring about people to a deeper molecular level, where they actually want to know how their day is going without adding into it and saying, "Well, my day is shit," you know. And so
Yeah,
I'm grateful that you shared that. Thank you.
thank you.
So you mentioned that your first drink was at the age of 9, and you said you knew then that, like, it was a problem, or you can look back now and say that that was a problem. And the culture in Europe, I've been to Europe a few times, and the culture in Europe is a lot different than America, where you can, where at a younger age you are drinking, whether with or without your family's permission, and it's kind of taught to you to numb the cravings later on in life when you become of age. How did that first drink of yours affect you later on in your life?
I was a very nervous child. Um, I got bullied at school. So when I took my first drink, all that went away. And the scene is set. We're on stage. My auntie, my uncle, there's a drummer there. I'm playing bass. These big, I'll never forget, big brown velvet curtains opened. And of course, we come in the back. Opened, and there was so many people there, it scared me. And I froze. So I was trying to get this bass line out. And we did 30 minutes, break 30 minutes. So after the first break, we come off stage, and my uncle's like, "What's going on? What's going on?" I said, "I'm so scared. There's so many people." So he said, "Don't worry, I'm not listening to you. It's all good." And I said, "I don't know if I can go back on again." You know, fucking 9 years old, man. You thought someone would have said, "Don't worry, don't worry." But no, he gave me half a beer. And I drank the beer, and all them nerves went. And I went on the second half and loved every second of it, and continued to do that musically for the rest of the time I was with them. I very rarely went on stage without some kind of alcohol, only small amounts back then. But yeah, it shows me out, it makes me feel good. And it got me through, the stages of life that it needs to get me through. And as that continued through middle school, as you guys will call it, and high school, we call it secondary school. And then finally through college, I was lucky enough to get to college. I lived on the projects. My mum and dad didn't have any money. They both worked. My dad used to dig the roads, to lay the big gas pipe mains so people could have gas in the house, and my mum cleaned other people's houses. And it always bothered me, and I still don't know why, what I do, but it bothered me for a long time that I didn't want that life. My brother and sister, they love that life and live on the projects or whatever, but not for me. I needed to get out, and new music was my way out.
I can imagine. I can imagine how that affected you. I know when I was a kid and I looked at my dad and seen he was a truck driver, right? So he drove across country all the time, and I was like, that's kind of like the life for me. But then I started, when I became older, I started looking at that. And I'm like, he's not living this luxurious life that I think he is. And so I started to become ashamed. And then my mom wasn't around. I can definitely, I can relate to a degree, that kind of shame around like the profession.
Yeah, it's funny how it is as kids, I remember certain things like my school used to go on what's camping trips. So it was to the local park, which is 5 miles away. I can't afford to go on that. And you can imagine how cheap that was. And it was me and this other kid used to wave, when the bus stopped, we used to wave, stood there with a teacher because we couldn't afford to go. It's like harrowing for me. Absolutely harrowing. You would have thought the school would have said, well, just let's take him anyway because it's not costing us anything. We were left there and that played a big role in my life of being second best. And if I tried to do something, I was an imposter syndrome. And, I was very alcoholics now, it's very sensitive. This is part of the illness. We hear things differently to other people. And we research everything I'm going to say on here, guys. I've researched, we tried and tested. We spent over $1 million on research and trials and tests throughout the years to make sure that what we're doing and what we're saying is exactly right. And you can find out. You see my name, just jump on any search engine, you'll see the stuff we're doing. It's amazing. But yeah, that stuck with me for a long time, the abandonment, and it fed into my drinking, of course.
Absolutely. So you mentioned you went to college and you were continuing to drink there. Was that kind of like the point in which you decided, I don't want to drink anymore, or did it progressively get worse for you?
Oh my God, no. I don't think there was ever a time when I thought I'm drinking too much, ever. So I got into college, not the normal way. So there was a friend of mine from the products of the council estates. A friend of mine at school, he was from the posh estate, which means they mortgaged the house. The government didn't pay. So me and him become great friends, and I can play any instrument in the world. I just have that gene. My brother and sister don't. Like my brother can build a house and stuff. I had no idea how to do that, but music was my deal. So I remember his dad calling us both in, and we thought we'd do something wrong. And he asked me, and I'm like 15, 16, 7, I don't know, around that area. And he basically said that he's a Freemason and they're holding this 150-year-old celebration at their lodge, and the organist passed away like 3 days ago. And they're all old and nobody can play the organ. And, would I do it? And I'm, yeah, of course I will. I'll help out. I could read music, no problems at all, sight read. So to get into the actual lodge, you needed to first be an outer guard, then you need to be an inner guard, then you can go. So I was rushed through that at the age of, let's just say it was 16, outer guard, inner guard within a week. And I was in playing the organ, and it was a huge success, like absolutely huge. But now I'm a Freemason. 18, I think was the deal back then. But yeah, so the more I went, we sat in the corner drinking orange juice and enjoying the meals and stuff like that. We got talking to a very high-profile, government high-profile person who was in our lodge, and he got me into Oxford. Now, Oxford, are you kidding me? How the hell? So again, which was really weird, John, because again, I'm in a situation I shouldn't be in. The imposter syndrome. I remember sitting down for our first lunch. There were like 7 knives, 6 forks, and 3 dessert spoons. And I freeze. I'm like, what the hell? It's then I started to learn, if you look at other people, nobody's going to know you're faking it. So at the same time, I'm playing at Abbey Road as a session musician. So I'm earning tons of money, and it's putting me through college. And that's how I got through college, drinking and having a great time. But there were a lot of people paid off back in the day from me to complete exams and stuff, because most of the time I was wasted and drunk.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to take a break from your story real quick. Musical inspirations. Who were some of your musical inspirations?
Well, I played with Barbie, played with Queen, I played with Elton John, all in the studio. Freddie Mercury on his own, played with. My genre, because I'm a musician, wide from Dr. Dre to, I don't know, country music, Garth Brooks, and then I come out and go Young Blood from England, and then, old school rap, stuff like that. So I like any kind of music. So yeah, anything. If I'm going to turn my iPod on now, my iPhone, and play the first thing that's come on, it's probably going to be old school 80s and 90s rap, I would imagine. But yeah, there's nothing I go, oh, I don't, even classical I listen to. Some of the great singers, opera singers I'll listen to. So I'm lucky enough to not have a specific, I just like this. I enjoy all kinds of music.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's how I am. If you look at my Spotify playlist, like it is a wide range of different genres all over the place. One person that actually, you mentioned him, one person I actually started listening to recently was Youngblood because of his performance at Ozzy's last concert. and I may be ignorant to the times or ignorant, but that moment, in my opinion, was almost the equivalent to Freddie Mercury at Live Aid.
Yeah, yeah. It was shiver time. Absolutely shivers. So yeah, it was. I love that guy. I've never met him. He grew up about 20 miles away from me. My daughter texted me one day and said, "Listen to this song," and I listened to it, and I got into it. I have a few T-shirts of him. So yeah, this 64-year-old guy is into Youngblood. It's brilliant.
Yeah. And when I seen his performance, I ended up, going to look at some of his social media stuff, and just how humble this kid is.
Yeah.
And some of the things that he does is just beautiful. And I caught a video of him cooking a whole meal for his family, and I'm like, you don't see rock stars doing that. You don't see people of status doing that. This kid cooked a whole meal for his family, and it just blew my mind. He is one of like that kid is a diamond in the rough.
Yeah, he does a version of the Police. I forget what the song's called. Really famous song. And Roxanne. He plays Roxanne with a few of his friends, and it's mind blowing just to listen to. So yeah, real good kid. I believe in their real talent. I love people with talent, especially when it comes to music.
Absolutely. Okay, we're gonna jump back into your story. So you're in college and you're still drinking and playing music. At what point in your life do you say, I can't do this shit anymore? I can't live this life anymore, as far as like drinking?
Probably 4 years on, after everything started to go wrong. So I left college, went into the police force, because the Freemasons were police officers. That's how I went in. Didn't last long. Got fired for being drunk, and let go every day. I remember the sergeant called me an alcoholic, and I'm like, I wasn't pissed off I lost my job. It's like, you call me an alcoholic. I've seen alcoholics in the corner with the waistcoat and the string, and they're all hung around a fire singing fucking 6-part harmonies. I know them guys. It's not one of me, but not shame on my parents, because I'm living on my parents still. Not shame on them for the shame I'm going to bring them. And no, they call me an alcoholic. So I'm out of work for a couple of weeks. I applied for one of the lowest low, which is called cold calling for a telecom company. And after about, and when I say telecom, I mean Army and Navy, masts and radios and stuff, way before cell phones. And I went there, and it was like commission only, and I'd been there for about 5 or 6 weeks, and I thought to myself, I can do this. So I took a few clients away from there. So I took a few people that I know and a few friends, and we started my telecom company with £200 in the bank. And a year later, we're taking over $1 million. And people go, what? That's impossible. Go, you have to understand the addictive personality and the alcoholic brain. You have to understand the mind. You have to understand how the vibration works in the body. That alcoholics nights when they get clean and sober, and childhood trauma is the gateway drug, not the one you think it is, car crashes. But when you sort all that out, we're years ahead, tens and tens of years ahead of other people. So I coined the phrase that alcoholics, I'll just say alcoholics had two lives. First one, we fucked up. We're going to fuck the second one up. My answer is no. So then we get to do stuff that people are scared of doing. I signed an office contract for offices in Highland Park in Dallas, in the medical building. And the total amount for the amount of years we're there was $1 million. And this was like 11 years ago, you know, and my friends were like, I'm not being funny, Rob, but do you know what my answer was? What the fuck are they going to do to me that I haven't done to myself? I've been homeless. I died twice on the streets. They took my fucking kids off me when they was 1 and 3. What the hell can happen? What are they going to do? Take the office of me? And that's how I started to build these multi-million-dollar businesses. I don't give a shit. Oh, have you seen this in the paper? Or somebody, have you seen this? I don't care. I don't read the paper. I don't watch my TV. I've never read my book, and I'll never watch a podcast. Do you know why? I might start to believe that shit, and I can't do it. You know, so I think once we get over the crap that we go through, we become very dangerous people. If you can find out your identity and clear your childhood trauma out, we become very dangerous people, man. Either in the nicest or the baddest way you can imagine, or we can do anything. We really can.
Absolutely. This version of me is probably the most healed version I've ever faced in the mirror. And when I got clean and sober and I started this podcast, I've had people tell me, oh man, like you're not going to make it so long. And my catch line was fucking watch me. Watch me.
Of course.
And yeah. And we live in a world full of negativity, and like people are so quick to say, oh, you can't succeed, instead of saying, hey man, you got this. And I'm pretty sure that if somebody said you got this, like that would have made it a lot easier for you. But personally, I love to thrive in those moments of uncertainty.
Yeah, my answer to them guys is says who. You can't go to America, that says who. You can't be on national TV, says who. You can't be on Oprah, you can't be on the doctor, says who. Who's making these rules up? Because I don't like them. So what I quickly found out in this world is there's two kinds of people in this world. The people that love you for who you are, and the people that want to be you. And that's it. And there's no point to get all pissed off if you start to do something or make a business or whatever it is, and people are commenting on none of your business, man. And once you clear your childhood trauma, you can honestly stay there. It's none of my business, because you just want to be me. And I want everyone to think about that, not me. I don't want you to do as good as me, guys. I want you to do better than me. I mean, I live an amazing lifetime. I've worked hard and I've paid my dues. Now I want them motherfuckers back. You know, it's my turn now. And 25%. So when I say that, people, oh my God, as rich as 25% of my own income, which is millions a year, goes back out into helping the homeless, helping their families, helping their fathers get the kid back at a weekend. I mean, we're serious about this. We just want to give back and give back, and I think that's part of it. There's no point in me sitting there with all this money and going, okay, I'm fine, Jack. That's not why I do this deal. I really don't. I get up in the morning, by the way, now I'm at 10, 100%. So I get up in the morning and it's another day. Who can we help today? Who can we make somebody's day? Do I compliment? Do I bless them on monetary every day? All of the above. All of the above, because it's the only way to live. If you're starting a business for money, if you're starting a business to work your own hours, no, I'm sorry, man, no. When I first started getting in Dallas, I bought my first 911. I got my first solid gold Rolex watch. I paid the mortgage, all that great stuff. And about a year later, I was booked into a private psychiatric hospital because I'd have a nervous breakdown. Not a lot of people know that. But yeah, money does not make you happy. You have to find a healthy relationship with it, and you'll be fine.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. What at what point, let me restructure this question. What did your early phases of recovery look like for you for alcoholism?
In and out treatment centers, in and out of 12-step groups, stuff like that. Being told the wrong things about alcoholism that are not true. 90% of what you hear about alcoholism and addiction is not true. Oh, Johnny around the corner, he drinks every day. He's an alcoholic. Well, guess what? Alcoholism is the only self-diagnosed illness in the world. You can drink 5 bottles of vodka a day. It doesn't make you an alcoholic. You're just abusing that shit. Stop and grow up. But alcoholism is just a completely different deal. So I never thought I had a problem. I always thought, well, I drank too much this week, so I'm going to cut back. And I never cut back. It just went on and on. I didn't realize that I had a drink problem until I was 14 months on the streets. Because I thought, it's just the way it is, going through a bad luck. And then when I was on the streets, a couple of days after a week, I went back to the house. She's going to forgive me. When you stab your wife 3 times for not letting you finish your bottle, people start leaving. And every time I stepped on the garden path, she'd call the police. And the police, because I was a policeman, used to come and arrest me and take me to jail and, stuff like that. So you really, truly, when you're calling your mom, she puts the phone down as soon as she hears your voice. And, you truly find out that everybody's gone. And you truly find out what abandonment is. See, isolation and abandonment and taking your ID off you is the quickest method to taking someone to insanity. We were allowed to do some interviews and stuff over a period of time at Hunt prison, where they have a death row there. And most of the people that got to the chair or the needle were 90% insane. That's because they isolated them and took their identity off me. Let's not even talk about COVID. So yeah, so that was me on the streets, abandoned, and nobody knew who I was. The identity was just taken, and I become that drunk on the streets.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can relate to the isolation, and a lot of times, I know for me, my isolation was self-diagnosed, like self-isolation. I was just like, fucking nobody can understand me, nobody can believe me.
Yeah.
You're right. Like, I served in the Army 12 and a half years, and I was like, nobody's gonna fucking understand what I've been through, what I've seen. Multiple deployments. My health was shit. I was like, nobody's gonna be able to understand the shit that I went through. And I really, really isolated myself to the point where I was pushing my family way up. I abandoned my daughter, right? Like some of the most like fucked up things that at the time I thought were the right answers, but in reality they weren't. And when I self-isolated and pushed everybody away, that sucked. But I can imagine being forced, right, where you're ripped from your environment and put into a situation that you're not supposed to live in, and you're not supposed to win.
And it psychologically, it really diverts any healthy neural pathways that's going to happen in the future. And intense work is needed for being homeless. Intense work is needed for homelessness, for the depravity, the abandon, all that stuff. It needs to be worked on. Otherwise, you're never going to stay sober, and And let's face it. Alcohol has 1% to do with alcoholism. And the same with any other drug, food, cake, sex, but it makes no difference. It's not the problem. And I found out this one morning. I'm outside a liquor store. I've got a vest on, pair of shorts, and a pair of flip-flops. I'm sweating profusely, and I'm shaking, and it's snowing. And I'm still shaking and sweating. I couldn't even, I was that bad. And I'm waiting outside this liquor store. He's not supposed to open till 10 legally, but he knows me. I've been there so many times. And he opens the door at 5:30. I go in and shaking, and I put the pound on the counter, and he places the bottle. And this, for whatever reason, was my fucking reaction. Oh. Hey, buddy, thanks for letting me in. You're amazing. Shake stops, sweat stops, headache stops, mood change instantly. I remember looking at the shopkeeper looking back at the bottle and going, fuck me, it's not about the alcohol. That was the first breakthrough that everybody thought was crazy when I says it wasn't about the alcohol. In fact, when I came to America 20 years ago, they stripped me of my license to practice. They said I was killing people and harming people. It's funny how I lecture to those guys today. Go figure. But at the time I knew we were onto something. I fucking knew that it was more than just drinking alcohol. I knew it was, and I kept going and going and trying and testing, and everybody mimicked and everybody mocked me and everybody, this crazy English guy in America, who does he think he is? And, I knew it wasn't about the alcohol or the drugs. I just had this feeling. It's like, some of you guys might relate, a big bodybuilder, a fighter, anybody, I'll take on anybody, anytime. And alcohol kicks me to the curb every single time. And I don't get it. I see other people drinking, it doesn't affect them. And I think when you see this as a struggling alcoholic, you start getting bitter and twisted about how the next door neighbor who empties my trash can fucking drink without no problem at all, and I can't. And it took me years and years to figure out why. When we did, the floodgates opened. It was just such a relief to find out that, hey, I wasn't a bad guy back then. It was a disease where my choices, because of the hypothalamus, was taken away from me. Not the same with drug addiction, addictive personalities. Both show up the same, both everything. It's just when you get down to the neuroscience and the creation of how we're born, alcoholics are born. So it's just when they take their first drink, off they go. And it takes years, 20, 30, 40 years, whatever, to come to fruition, but it will.
Yeah, absolutely. When you were explaining that, the one thing that kept coming to my mind was alcohol is the placebo. Right? Because you know about the placebo effect where the studies around placebos where you give somebody a pill and then you give somebody something that replicates a pill, but it's not, it's just saline water. And then and they take it and they get the same effect as the pill, right? To me, I kept thinking like alcohol was the placebo. I mean, is that kind of like the same of what you found out?
Yeah, yeah. It's the psychological damage rather than the alcohol that does it. So yeah, I've never heard that before, but I like that. I like that, Sean, a lot, because it is. You can relapse without even touching alcohol. So like you said, the alcohol we think is the main character and the main deal here, and we act this way because of alcohol. It's fucking hell. The more I think about that, Sean, the more fucking pure brilliance it is. Yeah, fucking placebo. Yeah. So we drink more and more thinking that's the problem, and it's not the problem. It's fucking not. How many times have we stopped? Millions. Can you stay stopped? No. Why? I ask that people, why did you relapse? Well, that's an excuse. Give me a reason. Well, that's an excuse. Give me a fucking reason why you relapse. Nobody can. Nobody can. Like, if you don't touch that placebo pill, you're going to be fine. What? If I could just stop drinking, I'm going to be fine. If you're a real alcoholic, you can't do that.
No.
It will kill you. And it doesn't take any prisoners, and you're done. And people, I love the big book of AA. I'm not into the meetings, the fellowship, but the big book, it's so true what it says. Whether you like AA, NA, or what, it makes no difference. The book is the best piece of literature I have ever read. And I studied Carl Jung at college. It's so precise in what he says. It's going to kill us. And you ain't going to get away with it. I always thought I was going to be the exception to the rule. I'm going to stop. I'm going to beat this. I'm going to come back in a year's time saying, I'll show you guys in AA. I'll show you. And I could never do it. I kept going back to alcohol because I thought that was going to fix all my problems. It fucking wasn't.
No, absolutely not. And when I started recovery, I thought that it was the same thing. I thought alcohol was the problem. And everything. And I had my aha moment, where the aha moment was, I looked at my whole life while, from the age of 18, when I became a legal adult and when I joined the Army, to that current moment, and all of the issues in my life I had created myself. And I looked at that and I said, alcohol is not the problem. I fucking am, right? Like I'm the problem, right? There's something broken in me, but there's something that's warped in my brain that I need to work on. figure out. Is that kind of where you started leading your conclusion to?
Yeah, towards the end it was. It's like, stop blaming everybody. This is it. Nobody's coming knocking at the door. Nobody's offering you that 100 grand a year job, car, and nobody's coming. Nobody's coming when I'm at home. And the realization of that is I need to get out of this shit and do something. I had a huge spiritual awakening that got me off the streets. But when I first came off the streets, I was aggressive and I was angry that I'd lost everything. Died, like I said, 3 times, I think it was, I'm not sure. And nobody could tell me why. And I'm pissed off at the medical fraternity. I'm pissed off at my doctor. If you feel like, just stop drinking, just stop it. And I couldn't. Just stop it for your kids, and I couldn't. Just stop it for your wife, your dad. I couldn't stop, and I knew there was something seriously wrong with me. So yeah, when I found out what it was, and this is what we do today. 20% of our work is alcohol, drugs. The rest is mindset change for entrepreneurs, depression, anxiety, Alzheimer's, dementia, PTSD. We do an array of illnesses because we're so fascinated with the brain that when neuroscience pops in, there's so much you can do. You can be cured from any kind of addiction. Yeah. And you can arrest alcoholism. No cure for alcoholism, but there's no cure for the common cold of food poisoning. So stop freaking out, I tell people, but yeah, if people knew what I know, if people knew what I know, it would freak you out that you could do the same as I've done. Or you can see, nobody's watching. Can you realize you get to the age of 18, you look back in your life and realize there was nobody fucking watching and you could have done anything you wanted to do? That's my bugbear today, to tell people that this is it. You can create anything. Quantum physics backs us up here. You can create $1 billion empire. You can marry the best, whatever it is, you can create around you with no qualifications. The ROI on a college degree now is not worth shit. Anybody with knowledge will tell you that. I got my PhD from Oxford. I got a second PhD in behavioral science when I studied more about alcoholism from Southampton. But you know what my biggest education was? On the streets, man, and learning what it did to me and learning how to get off and learning, stuff of people that got me to a place where I'm on a different level. Everybody who is where I am now, who's like you, who's been through it, sorted the childhood trauma out, got neural pathway change, your mind is power, connects with another power, your DNA changes. Everybody knows that we are different breed. So everybody wants to put the slant on it. Oh, alcoholic. Oh, yeah, you guy. No. Once you get well, we're a different breed. Somebody who's found their identity, somebody who's done their past work, somebody who doesn't give a fuck anymore, become very, very dangerous people. And don't let anybody tell you different. We've worked with guys now who are almost running the world. We've worked with companies, we've worked with alcoholics, with all actors, movie stars, musicians. I work with all them guys today. Anybody who's on a stage with a microphone that's taking over 400 million a year or something, I've worked with them. Any footballer, we deal with all of that stuff, and then we flip the coin and we have a reduced price for the homeless and people are struggling and working class people. It's just, the richer you are, the more of a fucking headache you are, and that's why we have the scale, we have a sliding scale. Is we try not to turn anybody away. I'm going to regret saying that on this show, but it's true. Who the fuck am I to turn somebody down because they don't have any money? So what we usually say to them is, how much you spend on alcohol and drugs a month? Or $600. That's your price to come here for 3 months. $600 a month, 3-month period, you're out. We're the only company in the world that will refund your money if you relapse whilst following our program after you leave us. You've got to be following what we teach you. You can't stop doing this shit. You will relapse. And that's how passionate we are about this stuff, It's amazing, absolutely amazing. It's like I have a book out there. It's been out for a bit. Daddy, please stop drinking is the last thing my daughter said to me. I don't say, hey guys, go to Amazon. No, I got 10 copies here we'll give away. you know, the first 10 people, you know, it's all about that for me. It really is all about, you know, I've got to earn a living. I like a bunch of staff. I have a wife. I have, you know, mortgages and stuff. But at the end of the day, like today, you'll never see me, oh, go to Robb Kelly, we need you, book and money, buy this, but fuck that. If me and you, Sean, can save a life today, I'm going to sleep really good tonight.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. One of the people that I've really studied and like read all his stuff and read it multiple times is Dr. Joe Dispenza. And you talked about how if you restructure the brain, you can overcome anything, you can create a reality. And that's what he teaches in his books is restructuring the brain to pretty much heal anything in your body and then create a new reality for yourself. And that sounds like what you're doing. The one thing that blows my mind is anybody that comes up with something revolutionary based off of an experience that they've had, the world tells them that they're crazy, and the world tells them that it will never fucking work. And that sounds like it happened to you.
And that's just fair, man. That's just fair on their behalf. They don't like to see anybody come up with new ideas. And it's challenging the medical fraternity, as in, you know, if you're a drug addict, what we'll do is we'll bring you off heroin and put you on Suboxone. Yeah. Well, hang on a second. How does it fucking work? It's like somebody coming, well, you can't drink whiskey, but you can drink lots of beer and you'll be okay. So this is what I went against Purdue head to head, and next day they fucking filed for bankruptcy. I'm really, you know, really serious about this. It's like, can you imagine a board member sat around and somebody saying, hey, here's the deal, big pharma, big board meeting. We are losing trillions of dollars with heroin and stuff like that coming to the country, and we don't get a piece of that. How do we get a piece of it? And some other guy said, well, why don't we create a drug like the same as kind of heroin, call it, I don't know, Suboxone or something, and then convince the world that if you come on to Suboxone instead of heroin, not only are you not relapsing, not taking drugs, but the medical healthy fraternity is saying, hey, you're much better. Suboxone is meant for a taper. If you're on Suboxone for more than 6 to 8 weeks, guess what? You're a fucking drug addict. You think the fucking brain knows the difference between pharmaceutical drugs and fucking street drugs? And you got this myth going around. Now, if you take other stuff, fantastic. I'm just telling you, what we do today in the world is, let's say, you know, somebody came in the other day, always coming, but someone came in, Dr. Robb, you know, I think you have a drug problem. Oh, okay, well, don't worry, it's a bit more information. Well, are you depressed? Yeah, I'm very depressed, Dr. Robb. Okay. How long have you been depressed? Oh, it's been so long, I don't know. Do you take medication for that depression? Yeah, I do. I take blah, blah. How long have you been taking that? About 5 years. When did you think it's going to fucking kick in?
Yeah.
Because it hasn't kicked in yet, but you're still going and renewing that prescription. If you look at the medical dictionary of the United States of America, depression is classed as a few words: lack of serotonin. That is it. That is not your trial, lack of serotonin. Why aren't we asking before we go to the medical doctor why my serotonin is low in the first place? Before he gives you a false one that depletes your serotonin. Now you're stuck on that drug for the rest of your life to feel half human. It's like, I ask people all the time, have you gone to the doctor and got a medication for the ailment that you're suffering from that's cured the ailment so you never have to take that medication again? Nope. Yeah, I didn't fucking think so. You know, we need to wake up, America. And I'm a full-blown American, by the way. I became a citizen many years ago. America first, England second. And I'm saying that because I don't want anyone to sit there and look at him from Britain. What does he know? I'm American, man. I'm sick of our fucking people dying every day because of this shit. And I'm sick of people dying of lack of information. By the way, I'm also sick of the way the country treats veterans, but that's a different fucking conversation. It's like, we need to wake up. No one's coming, guys. Nobody's coming. The quicker you realize that, the better. And the quicker they realize that once you get the right treatment, and most of it's shit, but once you get the right treatment, you can do anything. You know, I'm not into politics, Sean. They've done nothing for me. I don't give a shit who's in. It makes no difference to me. But let's forget political views for a second. A few years ago, not this time, but a few years back, we had a fucking president with no political experience whatsoever. Don't dare tell me that you can't achieve your dreams. Somebody's put that there. It's not fucking true.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very much against big pharma. I've I've had my experience with medications, with antidepressants that don't work, that make you more suicidal, right? And I've been on what they call chemical balancers to help balance the chemicals out in your brain. I've been on all this shit. The most recent medication I was on, I've been off for 5 months now, and I feel way much better than I have ever felt in my adult life,
Yeah.
mentally and emotionally. And it's absolutely insane that the medication, the side effects of the medication, are so much worse than what they actually do for you. And they don't do shit for you. Like, they gave me mental health medication to help as an antidepressant. I didn't feel any different,
No.
right? It didn't do shit for me. I laid on my goddamn couch.
Yeah.
It didn't do a
Placebo.
goddamn thing. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
once I got up. It was once I went to my psychiatrist, and I said, "I'm not taking your goddamn poison anymore." That she looked at me and was like, "Okay, explain why." And I told her, I said, I don't feel any different, and I've been on this shit for 2 years, right? And before then, all the other medications that you pushed on me, it hasn't done shit for me. It's only made me worse. And so I'm gonna try doing this thing without it and see how my life works out. And for the past 5 months, it's been phenomenal. I mean, I've had ups and downs, but I've been able to actually handle those downs a lot better than I would if I was on medication.
You have to look at one thing when it comes to big pharma. They don't give a shit about it. It's all about the money. But have you ever noticed that one pill deals with 7 or 8 different ailments? You never get one pill that's just for depression. Now, chemicals change in the brain, we know that, but we can boost that naturally. And with non-pharmaceutical drugs that we take, herbalists, we have our own herbalist here. You never get one. And if you really really want to have some fun, when a depression meds come on the medication, turn the volume down. Look at the writing at the bottom. Like you said, there's 10, 12 other ailments that you may suffer from if you take, including death. Well, you don't hear that. What you see is the girl with a fantastic body next to the guy that looks amazing, who's a CEO on a fucking ship somewhere, a yacht they bought with the 2 little perfect. That's what you see. It's disgusting. I know for a fact Kennedy's going to ban all that shit because we're speaking to him. It's just the time is over for people. People's had enough of this shit. People are sick of trusting big pharma. People are sick of dying. People are sick of the way the world is right now. People are sick of it. We need to take our own mental health back. We need to know exactly what's going on with our bodies and brains. Because if you don't know what's going on, then you're putting your health and life into somebody that knows nothing about you. Because I'll tell you something, if you go to your doctor and you tell him you're depressed, and he doesn't ask you what your diet is, what your exercise, how's the family, your sex life, how's work, if he doesn't ask any of them, guess what? You just walked into a fucking high-paid drug dealer's fucking office, and that's it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you can't say that, Dr. Robb. Says who?
Says who? I agree. I completely agree, because there's so many contributing factors to depression and anxiety and all these other things. And you talked about, herbs, how herbs can help you out. I can walk in my goddamn kitchen right now, brew a cup of tea that will literally help me out with anything. It'll provide the nutrients that my body needs, and I don't need to take a fucking medication to actually do it, right? And I like how there's a lot of people now that are starting to turn toward herbal medication, plant-based medication, to help them, because it doesn't cost much to. The only thing it costs is your time to grow it and to maintain it.
Yeah, we have a lady who she makes them all from scratch. All it touches everything from scratch. She doesn't buy a single thing from the supermarket. Like if you go to the supermarket now and you buy 10 different brands of vitamins, I can bet you that 8 of them have cyanide in them. Go and look that up. Cyanocobalamin. I think it's the thing. So yeah, it's our food is not what you think it is. 90% of food is plastic. We're not eating it. It's all GMO. It's all covered. I mean, you can look some amazing brands that we use every day in America that's been banned, like Skittles. You know, Skittles, I don't quote me on this, has something like 27 ingredients, yellow colors, red color, which is directly linked to brain damage. And also, no one cares. They're still churning that shit out. You know, when moms come to me and they go, "Hey, my child is disruptive. Is there anything you can do about it?" You know, he's like 10 years old. He's been told off in class. He's been put to the back of the class. Da 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 da. He won't sit still. He can't concentrate. It must be ADHD. Let's get him some medication. Let's get him Adderall, which is amphetamine salts. What do you think, doctor? I go, what do you feed him in the morning before he goes to school? Oh, he has 3 Pop-Tarts and a bowl of cereal. Oh, just like, I'm sorry. So you give him 50 fucking spoonfuls of sugar before he leaves the house, and you expect him to, what? I mean, ADHD is not a deficit. It's an overload for a start. I was just thinking ADHD is the deficit. It's an overload. We've proven that. Me and Gary Brecker work very close together. We share patients, and it's not a deficit, man. So if you already have an overload and you overload it even more, and then you take amphetamine, and then da-da-da, no wonder acting like in the classroom or real life. It's like everything needs to be slowed down, man. You need to look at the conscious and subconscious brain, mind. You need to look at the brain. Where we truly find our best results is when we look how the conscious mind and the subconscious fight each other every day. And the fact is that the subconscious brain, no matter who you are, wakes you up in the morning because it loves hypoxic situations. If that subconscious brain is left to run wild, you're going to relapse. You're going to be in mood. You're never going to accomplish anything. You're going to isolate. Your marriages never last. Your relationships never last. Your jobs will never last. Period. Then there has to be a way, like what we do, to bring in that conscious brain for 24 hours. So you got the subconscious brain here. That's the guy's going to kill you. We need to get rid of that. So the conscious brain runs today. But Abigail, if he's waking you up tomorrow, this guy's waking you up again because it loves hypoxic situations. So on a normal circadian sleep pattern between 2 and 5 is when the body is at its rest, all the repairs taking place. If you don't know that, and you don't know that the presence of oxygen equals a lack of disease, as in every single illness or ailment in the body or disease starts in a hypoxic area. We only breathe 45% of our lung capacity. Guys, the reason you feel so good sometimes going to the gym or running, whatever, it's not the exercise. It's this between sets. So can you imagine if we got up in the morning before we did anything and we did 20 exaggerated breaths in and out to absolutely flood the body with oxygen? I tell all my patients to do this. Can you imagine how the body would clear itself straight away and get rid of the subconscious, lazy, waste of time, depressive subconscious mind? That's all it takes. That's all. And then you do your mirror work and your teeth work, which is just neural pathway changes. You're going to have an amazing day. Yeah, because most people that come to me and go, Dr. Robb, you know, I've had a terrible day. And I go, let's really look at that. Was it a terrible day? Or was it 5 fucking minutes you strung out all day? And it's usually the 5 minutes feeling sorry for yourself. Again, nobody's coming. It's up to you.
Absolutely. So to me, it sounds like your program is more based holistically.
100%. We don't believe in now. Let me just put some. We're talking about psych here. We're talking about alcoholism and addiction, recovering out loud and stuff like that. If you have heart problems, that go to the doctor. You know, if you have a liver, whatever it is that you have outside sight, go. What I'm talking about completely is we don't need all the medication we're taking. And there's an alternative answer that 9 out of 10 times will work better than the pharmaceutical medication you are taking. So we use things like 9-dimensional breath work with subliminal messaging. We use things like brain spotting. We have photomodulation, medical grade red light therapy. We have psychology, NLP. We have all somatic experience. We have all these things happening when you come to our office. And most of our deal, 90%, is online, so anybody can do this. Once you start that and get away from the shit that's keeping you captive, if you're going to bars or not going to bars because alcohol's around, you're still an alcoholic that's suffering. If you can't stand to be on a certain plate, you're still an alcoholic. If you're always, hey, I'm in recovery, well, fucking good for you. I'm not in recovery. I've recovered from that shit. Oh, you can't say recovered. Why not? Well, it means cured. Okay, fucking dumbass. Let's get a dictionary.
Yeah.
Now remember, the AA thing comes from the Oxford English because the Oxford group was the people who went to Oxford University. Recovered means to gain one's health and state of mind. So all you dumbasses that saying, I'm still in recovery, I can't say recovered, kiss my ass. You're not a real alcoholic or addict, because I'll tell you something. For me to recover, I stand on the fucking town hall with no clothes on. You know? But so don't come that shit with me. 12-step groups used to be really good, man. But what happened in the years and years and years, 100% success rate around AA, I don't go anymore because of this reason. I have the book and I live by the book. But the places like the Berry Flood Clinic were created, and the judges, let's send you to that AA thing. It's about stopping drinking. And they sent them in the fucking thousands. And what happened to Alcoholics Anonymous is it buckled under the weight. Now you got to sit there and listen to some fucking girl telling you that, you know, a husband drinks and he spilt some drink last night, alcohol on the floor. And when it got up morning, the cat was licking the alcohol. Do you think the cat's an alcoholic? What the fuck? Really? That's what we're talking about? That's why God gives therapists and fucking friends, and don't come that shit in here. And it just went down and down and down to 3% right now. So yeah, we don't, you know, we love the book. I teach the book, but you know, medication, you can do it herbally, you can do it changing your diet, changing what you drink, stuff like this. Be aware, you know, when McDonald's fries have 27 ingredients in them and the one in Britain has 3 ingredients in it, and then salt is optional, you know, there's something wrong. When a McDonald's fucking pink blah, blah, blah has fucking tire embalming in it, you know, you do something wrong. So just be clever about what you're eating, be clever about what vitamins, start lifting, start running, exercise, and start working on that childhood trauma, which you cannot do on your own, by the way. It's a method. Ours is 90 days, 1 hour a day, but we guarantee you. How can you guarantee people? Well, we have a strict assessment, first of all, and you've got to want to do it. I've turned plenty of $1 million actors away. That was the paycheck, by the way, because he wasn't ready. You know, if you do this from, and we said it before, authenticity, then the money will come. If you want to be famous, all that will come. You see, authenticity is where the body connects to the mind and the spirit. How do we know this? Well, once again, we asked 10 people to come into our office, drink coffee or water, chat to people for like 20, 30 minutes. We'll give you $100, bye-bye. We're doing an experiment. Brilliant. They all came in. What they didn't know is 2 doctors, 2 mechanics, 2 road sweepers, 2 surgeons. They were paired off and they were wired up chest and head. And what we found is when a surgeon met a road sweeper in the early stages, they had little to talk about. When a doctor met a window cleaner, same thing. But after a bit, and they never knew what they did for a living. But what we found, the more comfortable they are, when a road sweeper met a surgeon and they were both being authentic, it spiked to 100%. So authenticity is the greatest form a human being can be in. Don't do it for the money. Don't chase money, man. Money's there. There's loads of fucking money. Do it authentically. Do it honestly. Do it with passion. I don't care if it's your love life or your business. All the same. Have plenty of time for your children. We don't have fucking time, by the way. Everyone thinks they've got time. What about this, ladies? 1 minute you're waving off to kindergarten. The next minute, they say, I'm waving off to college. We don't have time. Start that business, start that empire, date that girl, buy that house, buy that fucking car that you can't afford for 10 years. Fucking buy it and pay it off slowly. Live now. We only have now. Yesterday's gone, tomorrow's not here. Depression and anxiety. What do we have is we have now. Our whole world is right here, right now. That's what neuroscience tells us. Psychology and quantum physics. It's now. We have a 7.3 second rule in our company. And it works like this. If I'm sat on the couch tonight and I've got a big bag of chips and a big can of Coke, I do neither, and I'm watching the wife or sat on it, you know, I've got my belly hanging out or whatever, and I see Arnold Schwarzenegger on the TV, and I turn to my wife and go, you know, I'm thinking of going to the gym tomorrow. She knows I'm not going to the gym. I know it. She knows. The 2 dogs know it. Even the cat's walking by saying bullshit. I call bullshit on that, Rob. But within the first 7.3 seconds of me saying that, words are very powerful, especially internal dialogue, I go to the bedroom, put the thing on hold, get my shoes, and I take it out to the door I walk out on, or even better, the car. There's a good chance of me going. So don't put things off, guys. Date that girl, start a website. I think I would always love to start a business. Start it now. I dare you to go onto GoDaddy now and say it's Mike's Tire Tuner, and you'll get a .us, not .com maybe, but a .something for like $3, sometimes 30 cents. Now you've got a website. Order some business cards from Vistaprint, cheapest place to go. Order 100 of them. Now you have a business. Now your job is to turn that into an empire. How easy is that? It's a lot easier than going through the shit that we've been through, that's for sure. Yeah. Everything is possible. And I always remember meeting Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the late 70s, early 80s. He was over in England. We were bodybuilders. They're not in that gym and stuff. So me and my friend got to pick him up at the airport, take him to the hotel, spend some time with him, make sure he got to the show on time and then back to the airport. That's all I was doing. But we sat one night around the hotel, and it's really hard to understand him because he had real broken English back in the 70s and 80s. And I said to him, Arnold, I know your mind is amazing because of the condition you're in, but after the bodybuilding goes, your body starts to, what are you going to do? And what he said to me changed my direction on my life forever. He says, oh, Rob, I'm going to do 3 things. And I said, okay, ready for this, Arnold. Number 1, I'm going to be the highest paid movie star in the world. Well, me and my friend nearly fell off the chair because like this guy could not speak English. I said, okay, all right, what's the second one, Arnold? The second one is that I'm going to become a governor of a state in America. If it was ideal, it would be California. And we was like, yeah, okay. What's the third one, Arnold? And he said, I'm going to marry into the Kennedy family. Check, check, and fucking check. And that's what I get my mindset from. Watching people do this got me inspired to do it myself and to share this with others. Stop waiting, man. Just stop it, man. Nobody's watching you. If I go in the room and slam the door, everyone looks around. I've been looking at me. They're fucking looking at you. They've got their own problems. They don't give a shit about me. Nobody cares. Nobody's watching. You can do anything you want. So go and do it. What's the worst going to happen? You fail. Oh, I did 2 businesses, Rob, and I failed. Go speak to J.K. Rowling. Go speak to Paul McCartney. They had so many turns down. It was unbelievable. Turn down just means you need to learn a little bit more before we give you the prize, whether that's God, higher power, Uncle Jimmy, the universe. And when you're ready, you'll get all that shit. Don't worry about the money.
Yeah, absolutely. You said something that really, really stuck out to me, and you were talking about AA. And one of my biggest issues with AA is standing up and saying, I'm an alcoholic.
Oh,
Look, I'm telling you, Dr. Robb, like the first year I did it, I was like, okay with it because I was, I was working a program that was like really strict and really strenuous. But then I got to a point where I was like, I'm no longer an alcoholic. If I'm identifying myself as an alcoholic, I'm putting myself in a position of victimhood. And if I put myself in a position of victimhood, I'm going to live that way my whole life. So I started introducing myself as a person in long-term recovery. And then as I did that, I got the side eye. How dare you say that shit? And I'm like, alcohol is not the fucking problem. I am. And if I am the problem and I've worked on myself, I'm recovered.
Exactly. I am the same. I haven't got to meetings. I don't call myself an alcoholic. And there's a couple of science reasons why. Internal dialogue will kill you or it will build you. That's it. Very powerful. Very powerful. If you keep telling yourself every day you're an alcoholic and you're in recovery every day, then guess what? Back to the placebo effect. I'll be an alcoholic. I'll be always dependent upon alcohol. So look alcoholism up in the dictionary. And it says something like someone who's dependent upon alcohol. I'm fucking dependent on alcohol. I used to be, but I'm not anymore. Can you imagine getting over cancer but still going back to the cancer ward every week and saying, hi, Jimmy, I have cancer? It doesn't make fucking sense. The early days of AA was absolutely amazing. But these days, it's all about ego. Well, I'm the chairman now, and I fuck off. Okay, now, don't tell me what to do in a meeting. Oh, you shouldn't curse so much, Rob. You don't get to tell me what I do in anywhere. The man fucking meeting, anywhere. You fucking righteous fuck. Who the hell do you think you are? You know, all these busybodies and, you know, it's like, shut up. You know, well, I've been sober for 10 years and I've only had a bad day today. Can you imagine some newcomer coming in listening to that? And he's suffering from untreated alcoholism, and he's just deciding whether to go commit suicide or whether to come to another meeting, and he is your fat ass in the corner saying, I'm fucking struggling today. Shut up. You are what's called, my man, a fucking heavy drinker. That's what you're called. Don't be coming in these fucking, they should be pep rallies, man. Don't you know, clarify who you are. I'm an alcoholic. I did this, whatever you want to call yourself, when you want to clarify that you used to struggle, and clarify what the fuck you're doing now, what it was like, you know, and how I got there and what it is like today. You know, be inspirational. That's what we need to do. But we lost that, unfortunately, man. We lost it. And there are probably millions of groups that are amazing. But 9 out of 10 times, just you watch for the guy in the corner, never says anything, fucking smokes, drinks coffee, sit in a corner with a few of his fucking cronies, and a young girl walks in. Watch them fuckers. Oh, my name's Bill. I'm 30 years sober. I would rather have that guy next to you with 6 months sober than your fucking 30 years sobriety, because that's not fucking sobriety, man. You're still living in hell on earth. Get away from that shit. Get away from it.
Absolutely. And that's what the foundation of this show is. The foundation of this show is what it was like, what happened, and then what you're doing now. And I find that it's so much more important, right? Like, because you go in the rooms at AA and you would just hear those horror stories of what it was like when they were in active addiction, and then it stops when they got sober. Like, there's a whole life after you quit drinking. Like, what the fuck is happening now in your life that is making your life so much better? What did you do with your life that changed the prospect or the perspective of how you're living your life? And so when I started this show, like, I see so many podcasts that's like they want to glorify the horror, you know, the horror moments of their life. They're like, oh, it's so fucking horrible, and look at you, you know, you're such a victim. Fuck no, we did it to ourselves. And so now we're here in this moment trying to talk about what it was like, the shitty moments, and then what the nexus was for you to realize I needed help, and then what you're doing now to make your life and everybody else's life around you copable. And
yeah, I love that. I fucking love that, man. If you think, anyone listening to this, if you think that meetings keep you sober, you're not an alcoholic. Trust me, you're not. Well, you can't say that. I don't give a fuck what you say, by the way. You can't. You put it on the internet, do anything you want. I don't give a shit. I'm telling you, I'm 64 years old. With all this experience from 9 years old with an alcohol problem, getting over it, I'm telling you now, there's certain myths around addiction that you have no idea. But if you feel like drinking, just do 1990s, go to a meeting, even if your ass falls off. I don't know what that fucking means. You'll get it by osmosis. What? You see, I went to my meetings when I was a young lad, and my meetings were stuck with them old men who weren't really alcoholics. And they would talk about war stories and shit. And we'll look at the books, you know, a couple of months we'll look at the book and instead, no need to work. And I kept relapsing, Sean. And do you know what I thought? It was me. I didn't get it. I hate the sponsors. Hey, sponsor, where's Jimmy? He used to go, oh, he passed away. He wasn't ready. Fuck you, he wasn't ready. What do you mean he wasn't ready? I'll tell you why I wasn't ready, because you don't know shit about alcoholism. You don't know shit about teaching people how to get well, having a spiritual experience, having all this great stuff that book covers. What you've done is collected these guys and expect them to meet for coffee once a week and expect them to fucking get well. It isn't going to happen. So fuck, he wasn't ready, sponsor. You're killing people. How many people have you killed with that line, geezer? Oh, I'm on my soapbox now, Sean. Boo!
I can tell you, my dad used to be in the program. He's not anymore, and he's back out doing this thing. He's had to bury 12 of his mentees, and I'm like, dude, what? Like, are you serious? And he used that same line. He's not ready. That's bullshit. That's bullshit, because you didn't provide him guidance. You didn't provide your sponsee guidance. All you did was shit down his throat and expected him to quote unquote man the fuck up.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. You know, it's like anything else. If I hadn't suffered what I'd gone through, I can't treat people like others. And we get therapists all the time. Yeah, are you an alcoholic or addict? Yeah, no, none of them. But I went to school for 6 years. Your 6 years diploma fucking schooling don't mean shit in this country. What means shit is, have you fucking been there? Do you know how an alcoholic mind works? I was after a therapist a couple of years ago just to go there and talk shit once a month because I need it. You know, my wife was sick of it. We had 3 of them lined up. I got into the first one, the guy, very well laid out, nice office. I went in and I said, I'm an alcoholic, and this was like years ago. Can you help me? And he said, yeah, of course. So I said, I take it you're an alcoholic who's recovered. Oh, no. I've never suffered from. I said, well, you can't help me. And I got up to walk out and he stands up. No, you don't understand. I've been to Harvard. I've been to, and they pointed at these certificates. And I said, okay, here's the scenario. You have a bottle of vodka behind your back and I want it because I'm in this horror fucking alcoholic binge. Yeah. So what would you ask for? Oh, I wouldn't ask. I'd stab you repeatedly in the face until I go, whoa. Do I need to call the police? I went, no, it's okay. Second one, the same. Third one I went to, she must have been in her 70s. She looked 50, long, fucking plaited hair, beaded hair. She was an old hippie that had been recovered for so many years. And I said to her in alcoholics, she went, does that matter? And she smiled as if she knew. And I said, okay, you had a bottle of vodka behind. I would stab you in the face repeatedly. And do you know what she said? I'd fucking stab you first and steal the alcohol. She was my girl. She's still my girl to this day. If you don't understand how the mind works pertaining to addiction, you have no sense being in that industry, treating people as real alcoholics. There's a bunch of heavy drinkers. There's bunches who are stuck on pain pills. Just treat them. Brilliant. When it comes to alcoholic and addiction, shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about because you're killing people, man. We can't just stop drinking. So our tests show that hypothalamus, 3 parts of the brain that differ from any other addiction. Alcoholics, hypothalamus is our survival part of the brain. It tells us our temperature, stuff like that, but it also tells us from birth we need to drink water and eat food or substance from birth. It tells us that it's an instinct. We don't have to think about it. It's implanted in the brain. At a certain point of our testing, at a certain point of the alcoholic's journey, the hypothalamus hijacks the brain and tells the brain to drink alcohol only to survive. When the survival part of the brain is telling you to drink alcohol, everything else gets pushed away. Kids, wives, jobs, and we can't stop. That's the difference. If you can stop or go to 10 meetings in 10 weeks and not drink, you are not an alcoholic, my friend. You fucking man up, just fucking, I'm sure there's lots of other things you can do rather than come to an A meeting and talk shit for an hour and a half. I'm sure there's a lot of things, but when it comes to this is a serious fucking game. We need to get A back on track and NA back on track away from that fucking. See, we're not doing that shit anymore, guys. That fucking, like that woke shit. We're not doing that anymore. You've had your time, leave. This is life or fucking death. I've seen too many people die inside and outside the rooms to recover quietly. I'm the big fucking mouth. I'm the guy that stands up on the stages. I'm the guy that stands by a meeting going, hey, do you know something? That's bullshit. Shut the fuck up and sit down. That isn't going to inspire anybody. And people either love me or they hate me. Have a guess if I give a fuck.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, I know that the real work came when I had my spiritual experience, right? Because for me, going to the rooms was like building a community. It wasn't. It was abstinence. Right off the bat, that's what it was. It wasn't until I had my spiritual experience a fucking year later that I was like, holy shit, my life has to change, because it's not about the alcohol. It's about the brain and how my thought processes, my conscious and subconscious brain works, and feeding my conscious brain the very, very positive shit and actually reality too. Like, reality is that not everybody's gonna love me, and I don't fucking need everybody to love me, right? I gotta love myself before anybody fucking love me. And all of and I do the meditation and the yoga, and I go for walks every fucking day, and I put myself in a better conscious state so that when my subconscious takes over in the sleep, everything is gravy. And I don't think a lot of people understand that like the book talks about the spiritual experience and how profound that is, and how it will change the very fabric of your DNA when you have that, and then moving on to not chase that next spiritual experience, but really live your life based off of the lessons that you've learned in that spiritual experience. And I've had more spiritual experiences over the time of my of sobriety, where each one of them builds a better foundation the next time. And it can be something as small as, like, for me, my last one was a few months ago where I was out in nature, and I had gone to a waterfall. I've been to waterfalls many times, but I put my feet in the water, and it was just like I had this like overwhelming spiritual experience that, like, this is another layer of the foundation of my life moving forward, and how I have to work around those things.
I
And
love
so,
that. I
yeah,
love.
I
I think
think
that's. I think that's the only way to look at it. There's a couple of profound things you've said, and I want that placebo thing. That as we carried on talking, it was like, fuck, yeah. And I want to just, say there are millions of meetings that are great. There are millions of, I'm not saying don't go to AA. God, it's great for community if you get a good community. But if you go to a meeting and your answer to what does step one mean, and they say you're all powerless over alcohol, you need to fucking go to the next one, because that's not what step one says. And this is the problem I had with people coming away from the book. Step one says we admitted we were powerless, not we're. There's no apostrophe there, powerless. Jesus Christ is mentioned on page 11. It's vital, necessary to life that we move on. Next day, step 5, 1 to 5 is done the same day. How do we know? Because it leads you into next. This will have permanent effect on us at once, followed by step 5. And after step 5, it says go home. So you go home, finish it off, man. That's the way it's supposed to be done. But we've come away from the book, we've come away from God. Is that you can choose a God of your own understanding. It fucking never says that in the book. It never says it in the first 164. It says you can choose a God as you understand him, and the H is capitalized. It doesn't say you don't understand. Oh, well, I can choose a light bulb for being my power. Let's hope nobody turns that fucking switch off, because then you'll be fucked, won't you? Let's get real. You need something outside you, and it has to be a power greater than you. Universe, Uncle Jimmy. There's 3,500 gods in the universe. Fucking pick one. It's not that hard, and stop following a herd. Be a leader. Alcoholism is a nasty, horrible disease. Addiction is a nasty, horrible way to grow up and get addicted. But at the end of the day, you can get well from all this shit. But follow these rules. Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. If you hang around 9 guys who still think the power's over alcohol, guess what? You'll be the 10th. If you're hanging around 9 depressed people, you'll be the 10th. If you're hanging around 9 successful people, you'll become the 10th. It's the mirroring part of the brain that picks it up. You've got to start hanging around the people that you want to be. So I can go back on to the race course now, which is the project, and I can help people. I have done. I can't fucking live there anymore, though. That's the difference.
absolutely, absolutely. Before we shut down the show, Dr. Robb, I like to ask all my guests this question: what are 3 things you are grateful for today?
I'm grateful for God. The way he's took me, it's unbelievable. Fantastic. I'm grateful to my wife, because she's my rock. Without that, I could have built none of these businesses that I'm in. It's just the brain that I don't have, she has, and we complement each other very well. And I have to say, this show, and I'll tell you why this show. You said a couple of things on here, Sean, that blew my mind, and I've done thousands of these. I mean, I think I'm on Rogan in December. I think. I mean, we don't ask. Can we come on your show? You come on a show. We turn 15 days down a month. And when she goes out, Courtney, my media director, to find out people are changing the world, and we ask humbly if we can go on their show. That's how we do this shit. This show and the way you've conducted yourself, you're probably in my top 3 of podcasters that I've ever been interviewed with. The placebo effect blew my fucking mind. Everything stopped, and you said, "How are you today?" So I'm grateful for you, man. I'm grateful that this, it can be podcast can be a lonely business, man. And I'm so grateful that you have the balls to stand up and recover out loud and have a platform where people come on, say what they want, as real as they want, as well as being authentic. So yeah, man, definitely you. Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you. I just want to let you know I'm grateful for you, and this has definitely helped me take my mind off of some shit that happened today prior to you're my second recording of the day. but prior to my first one. And I'm so grateful for you, and I am grateful for your experience. Um, I'm grateful for everything that you're doing for the community and for people, and just being being that raw voice that we fucking need that says, "Hey, look, you're fucking up, man. You're fucking up." It's very important. So I am grateful for you, Dr. Rob. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. Bless you.
Thank you. And everybody, I want to take a moment and say thank you for hanging out with us for this moment in time. Thank you for everything that you guys do for your community. And be kind to yourself, be gracious to yourself, and love yourself. You are loved, you are worthy, and you are worth it. Have a nice day. Much love.